everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Liberation Tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renée Jordan, and today we are going to do a few test runs with a workbook that I developed to support students. I initially created it to help students out with their homework, and that I shared with the students that I worked with back in June. And so what I did, I went back and I added more information to it. So if you took a look at it before, it has even more prompts, it has pictures, it has stories to help provide context. So now what we're going to do, we're going to head over to the blackliberation.tech website. So we're at the blackliberation.tech website. As always, it's available in both English and Spanish. And the workbook is also available in Spanish. We're going to go over to, as a matter of fact, let me take a moment to show you. So this is the English site, and you can get to the Spanish site by either clicking here or selecting Espanol. We're going to close that. And as you can see, this site has been translated into Spanish. I did use generative AI to assist me with the translation. And so what we'll do, you'll do the same thing on the English site. You'll go to Janiyah GPT. You might have to select more. And we're going to go to the second workshop, which is the Ag STEM Career Exploration Lab, and you will scroll all the way down to the bottom. It's like an Easter egg. When you stay for the credits, you know how the movies will play that extra clip. So for those who stayed through the workshop, they received an Easter egg about this homework help lab that is available in both English and Spanish. And so we're going to scroll just a little bit further. And as you can see here, ta-da, we have the workbook available in Spanish. So you're welcome for those who have Spanish-speaking households, or perhaps you are working on your bilingualism. You are more than welcome to explore the Spanish workbook. Janiyah GPT, who we will be using, Janiyah GPT, the AI tool that we'll be using, is able to understand Spanish as well as English and many other languages. So for this podcast, although I am able to hablo poquito español, we are going to go forward in Inglés. So I'm going to select AI for academic success. All right, so here we have the workbook, AI for academic success, homework help lab, learn smarter, ask better, think deeper, succeed. And so this image has, for those of you who are listening and not watching on YouTube, it has an image of a young lady. She's sitting at her computer or her laptop at a desk, and there's sunlight coming through, or there's a plant. She has a whiteboard, and it says use AI to clarify concepts, summarize information, generate ideas, review your work, stay on track. Curiosity plus effort equals growth. She has a small plant on her desk as well as a mug that reads Focus, Plan, Learn, Grow. There's a couple of journals on her desk. And so one is closed and it has on the top of it my goals, my growth, my future. She has several post-it notes. I read one, curiosity plus effort equals growth. That's posted on her whiteboard. And then she has, you've got this with a heart, progress over perfection. Now that's a smart idea. And along the bottom, it says AI is a tool. You are the thinker. Together, we achieve more. And she's writing in a journal, and it says plan, explore, understand, create, reflect. And on the other side of her journal, it says, or spiral notebook, ideas, connections, evidence, insights. And then along the left side, we have a few books stacked on her desk. It says research, analyze, learn, inspire, and then a couple of notes that are along the left side of this image read, understand your assignment, ask better questions, think critically and creatively, organize your ideas, build confidence, and succeed. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So here we have the copyright information. It is licensed through Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial 4.0. So you are free to share, so copy and redistribute the material in any medium or format. Adapt, so you're allowed to remix it, transform it, and build upon the materials. So you can take my workbook as a starting point and just go from there under the following terms. Attribution. So give appropriate credit to where credit is due. So Jordan Nuance LLC, that is my company, and it is for non-commercial use. So you can view a copy of the licensing here. And essentially that means you can use it, just don't sell this, okay? Because it's free and open for everyone to use. I am a former public school teacher, and I still carry educators' certificates and licenses to teach in both Maryland and Georgia. And so I wanted to do after school programs. And so this is my way of doing after school programs. And anyone is welcome to engage in the material and the podcast however they see fit. You're welcome to adjust the material. You don't have to use it as a script. You can think of it as a template. So if there's something in there that you're not interested in, or you want to add something else, you're welcome to do that. So, a little bit about this workbook before we get started. AI for Academic Success, Homework Help Lab, Learning with AI without letting AI do the learning for you. Now, I know that is a concern for educators and students alike. And so this is my way of sharing a possible way or possible perspective on getting help from AI without it taking over your thinking. We still want you to think. We still want you to develop those skills. We still want you to grow and learn. So let's take a look at the overview of this workbook to get a clearer understanding of what it's all about. Many students have access to AI tools, but few have been taught how to use them responsibly and effectively. This workbook helps students learn how to use AI as a study partner, a reading coach, a tutor, a brainstorming partner, a feedback provider, a metacognitive coach. This workbook is designed specifically for Latinas, Afro-Latinas, and Black girls who want to strengthen their academic skills while maintaining academic integrity and ownership of their learning. The goal is not to have AI complete your work. The goal is to help you become a stronger learner. Now, with that being said, I do want to take a step back to the credits. So I'm the instructional designer for this workbook, and I want to acknowledge that I did have help. So it says this workbook was created through a collaborative effort that weaves together insights from contributors, so participants in my dissertation research, findings from my academic work, and the use of prompt engineering with ChatGPT and Gemini Notebook to refine, expand, and shape the content. So I do acknowledge that I used AI in order to create this workbook, and I want to be transparent in letting you know that that's how I was able to get it done. If I had to do this on my own, I do know that I have the skills, talents, and ability. However, AI was a bridge, if you will, to help me not only develop the material faster, but also evaluate it as I developed it within the conversation. So there was definitely a back and forth and exchange of fix this, not that, and what about this that happened. I didn't simply say create a workbook and then it spit out a whole lot of pages. As you can see, the table of contents goes on for quite some time. The last page for this is page 89. And if I'm not mistaken, the Spanish version, I know it is longer, but I think it even goes to page 97. We're not going to cover all those pages today. We are going to focus on one module at a time. This is just the introductory so that you all can get the background and before we move on to activity or module one. So before we begin, AI is a thinking partner. AI can help you understand difficult concepts, generate questions, practice skills, organize information, receive feedback. The goal is not speed. So we're not just trying to move fast here. The goal is learning. AI should not complete assignments for you, take tests for you, write your papers for you, fabricate sources. Hello? Replace your thinking. Remember, the goal is not to finish faster, the goal is to learn. Because your curiosity, your ideas, your experiences, and your voice remain the most important tools you bring with you to any classroom. So here are the learning objectives for the workbook. By the end of this workbook, students will be able to, that's the teacher in me, use AI to better understand course content, create personalized study guides, prepare for quizzes and tests, receive feedback on writing without having AI write for them. This is very important. Analyze research articles more deeply, identify gaps in their understanding, use AI ethically and responsibly. Develop stronger self-directed learning habits. Now, self-directed learning habits, it means when you show up, you have an idea of what you want to go after in terms of learning on your own and how to get there. So, the goal is to help you with all of these things. Okay, so first up, meet Janiyah, your AI learning partner. Throughout this workbook, you'll see opportunities to explore inspiring examples of excellence among Latinas, Afro-Latinas, and Black women whose leadership, creativity, research, innovation, and service have made a difference in their communities and professions. If available, you are encouraged to use Janiyah GPT, your AI literacy and career coaching co-pilot, to support these explorations. Janiyah is designed to help learners ask thoughtful questions, discover culturally relevant role models, connect learning to real-world careers, and use artificial intelligence ethically and responsibly. Rather than simply providing answers, Janiyah encourages you to think critically, reflect on what you learn, and explore how the accomplishments of others can inspire your own educational journey. Now, I will say this. I built Janiyah GPT based on my research, and as a result, she is a little different than regular Chat GPT. So there will be a difference between using Janiyah and using Chat. There will also be a difference between using Janiyah and any other AI platform as a result of the data that I layered on top of her so that it causes her to consider those things before providing you with a response. Now, I will say this, that does not mean that Janiyah is without fault, error, or hallucination. She can make up things as well, just like any other generative AI tool. So you should, and I want to encourage you to verify and then trust any information that you receive from a generative AI tool, including Janiyah. Now, it says that she won't provide you with answers, but she's also going to respond to your request. So if you ask her for answers, it's possible that you can get answers out of her. However, if you follow the prompts as designed, then she's less likely to just give you the answer and help you work through it based on the design of this workbook. So let's go ahead and continue on. As you explore these examples, remember that AI tools, including Janiyah GPT, may infer or make reasonable assumptions about a person's learning habits, study strategies, or ways of thinking based on their accomplishments, interviews, publications, or other publicly available information. Unless those individuals have explicitly described their own learning habits, these insights should be viewed as thoughtful interpretations rather than documented facts. Okay, so there's a difference between making an inference, saying that something is likely or possible or may have occurred, than saying, oh yes, they definitely did this. So with all that being said, use AI generated responses as a starting point for reflection and further learning, not as definitive biographies of how someone learned or studied. Remember, AI is your thinking partner, not your replacement. So here is the link to Janiyah GPT. I'm going to go ahead and click it. All right, so we have her up. As you can see, it says Janiyah by Renée Jordan, that's me, an AI literacy and career coach, co-pilot, and personal learning assistant to learners and professionals in the Black, Liberation Tech ecosystem. For the best experience, start by sharing a little context. Janiyah will usually ask a few follow-up questions before giving recommendations. So we have some starter questions here, or conversation starters here, that you're welcome to select just to get started, but we'll hold off on that and keep moving along the workbook. So, how to use this workbook? This workbook is designed to help you become a more confident, independent learner. Each module introduces one learning strategy, a real world example of excellence, opportunities to explore with AI, and activities to help you practice what you learn. Move through the workbook one module at a time, ask questions, reflect on your thinking, try the activities, use AI to support your learning, but always make the final decisions yourself. Remember, your curiosity, your ideas, and your voice are your greatest strengths. What we're going to do, we're going to push pause here, and next week we will come back. With all of that being said, thank you for listening to another episode of the Black Liberation Tech podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renée Jordan. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and share, rate, and review the podcast to help it become more discoverable. And until next time, take care. Bye bye.